Happy summer, Deerfield Warriors. Hopefully, you guys are all having a great summer, enjoying the lovely weather. Maybe some of you at camp, some of you are working. I've seen some of you guys around town. The purpose of this newsletter, we're going to do a video newsletter today. You're not going to see my face, luckily, but I just want to kind of reiterate the S&P 500. It's never too late to start thinking about some of this. And right now we have some very interesting things going on in the stock market, and we want to, as a student right now of markets, we want to kind of watch this market and watch what it does, because history always repeats, and markets will always react in similar fashion over time. This time is not different. Every time that line that people use, that this time is different, is false. And so we just want to kind of take a look at the S&P 500 real quick. The S&P 500 is the best single gauge of large U.S. companies. There are 500 companies that make up the index, and 80% of the market capitalization is by these 500 leading companies. So what we want to look at right here, here's the chart, and I showed you this in class. If you had me in class, going back to 1960, you could kind of see where the index was at. It was at 59.50, and more recently, this past summer, it got up to 2,000. And so you can see how this market has just grown. It has taken off. It has fueled. But I want to kind of point out one thing. Our financial collapse was back here in 2007, 2008. And if we follow this, we could kind of see, here's 2008, the beginning of 2008, and the stock market just imploded on itself. It just got crushed. You could kind of see this steep drop-off, looking very much like the drop-off that we saw in the prior meltdown. But one thing I want you to notice, as the trend here goes up, it's going up quite dramatically. And if we look over the past couple of years, that trend has gone up even further. And I don't know what you see around, and what I'm seeing is we're still seeing high unemployment rates. We still see a large percentage of our population underemployed. We see median wages in this country actually fall. And so what is the cause of this market going up? Well, it's what people are willing to pay. Remember, a stock market is what people are putting value in equities right now, and with the Federal Reserve keeping interest rates at 0%, there's really no good place to put your money, and so many people are basically flooding, taking their money and putting it into equities. Right now, we see large levels of leveraging in the stock market, and so that's always a cause for concern. I'm not saying that, hey, this market is going to collapse today. Don't get me wrong. Markets will do what they want to do in due time. But right now, when we look at this market, there's really nothing out there in the world that has me excited about growth in the world economy. And we're looking at Europe right now, and Europe is even teetering on a third recession. So as we look at this market, we just want to kind of watch it. We're students right now. I recommend you do invest, and you do invest money, and you participate in a 401k, a Roth IRA, so forth and so on. But we never want to jump into a market when it looks like this. When it has fully recovered, and it has recovered beyond a level where it was before, we want to make sure that we really, really kind of stay awake. And you can kind of see that double top here. It broke out above that. And so now we want to say, okay, where are we going here? Do we want to take a lot of money and put it into this market here at this point? And the answer is no. Because it's kind of, it was one of my favorite professors said it's a bigger fool theory. Someone's always willing to come along and give you even more money than what you paid for it, but eventually there won't be a bigger fool, and the asset prices will collapse. And so we kind of see that right here in the stock market, in this frame, and now the question is, where are we going over here? So I'm not saying sell, I'm just saying watch the market here, but definitely you don't want to be throwing a lot of money in at this level that we see right here. Here's an ETF that mirrors the performance of the S&P 500. It's called SPY. That's the ticker symbol, and it trades just like a stock. It's an ETF, and As you can see today, 63 million shares have already exchanged hands. Oh, just went up by 100,000 there. And if we look here at where we're at on the S&P, you can kind of see it was forming a nice floor here, and it had a nice narrow ceiling, but you can see it kind of broke that level. And really what's kind of causing fear on the market right now is what's going on over in the Ukraine, and the market is kind of reacting to that news right now. But my bigger concern is, watching this market over time, and it just had such a nice run. Are we set up for a pullback here at some point? You can kind of see the 1-year trend, and you can see my slope here. Look at that. That is almost like going up a roller coaster here. You're getting to the top of the cliff. But I'm not into predicting tops, and I don't think anyone on this earth can actually predict a top. But we want to understand how markets work. And so in your life, you will begin working, you will have money invested into the market, you'll be putting money in. And sometime you might be even successful and have a large sum of money. And just be careful. Don't be throwing money in when markets are near tops. You want to be patient. You want to wait for good value, and you definitely want to maybe be buyers when that market definitely pulls back. So let's say you followed my advice here. The market was in an all-time high at this point in time. If you kind of heeded some warning there and had an understanding of markets, maybe you would pulled some money out, take some earnings off the table, and convert it into cash. And when the market did pull back, you just played a waiting game and then decided at what entry you would enter into that market. So right now, if you look at just this trend here, this is just a pretty high slope there that we're in. All right, so there you have it. There's your summer video. Make sure you continue to research and understand financial markets. In my investing class, we obviously go a lot further with it. We look at individual stocks. We look at all different types of investments, real estate, commodities, and other things. And we also trade in accounts and trade against each other. So that's kind of what's going on in the world of the stock markets right now. So keep an eye on it and enjoy the rest of your summer.